I've been using a spicy tech card to destroy the Dracotail matchup. Hello, I hope you are having a perfectly balanced day. In this video, I'd like to share some insight on how I've been using Gokipole to have a near unlosable Dracotail matchup. So I've been using this tech in Dracotail for the mirror match, but you can play it in a bunch of different decks, and it gets even better if your deck can make Cherubini. Stick with me as I explain my deck building thought process. Essentially, it's linked to Retaliating C. Retaliating C is not a spicy or unheard of card. Plenty of people are using this card in their side deck right now as a counter to Dracotail, but a majority of people do not play Retaliating C. There is no concrete reason for this, but I deduced that it effectively comes down to Retaliating C not being good enough to warrant side decking a card that only hits one meta matchup with some rogue strays. The difference with Lancia is that it does a lot more to Malice than Retaliating C does to Dracotail. So I thought, what if I could make Retaliating C be like Lancia is to Malice? What if I could make this card become backbreaking against Dracotail? The starting point with this is identifying why the card is not already a backbreaking card against Dracotail. It's not like the card is bad against the deck, it's more like it's on the fence of being amazing. So my goal was to push the card from being decent to being amazing. To do this, I looked into why the majority of players were not considering it to be amazing against Dracotail. Many players were saying that Dracotail could just play around it. It seemed that while this was mostly true, it was also incorrect to some degree. What does this mean? How can it be both right and wrong? Well, if we look at Malulu and Thymena, these are monster-based spell speed 2 fuse effects. They are fusion summoning methods that both bypass Retaliating C's activation condition and can be chained to Retaliating C. By fusing the hand away for Aphelion, the Dracotail player can avoid having to banish anything from Retaliating C. These interactions are big reasons as to why many choose to not use Retaliating C in their side deck, which makes sense when you look at it at face value. In most cases, you're just trading Retaliating C with one of their spells, which can be really good, but it could be better. We can make it more than that if we play with the full potential of Retaliating C. Retaliating C has another effect upon being sent from field to grave, which is to add an Earth Insect with 1500 or less attack from deck to hand. Maxi is banned, as that would be the obvious search option. Some recorded builds use one Contact C to search after they destroy your Retaliating C, or you link it off yourself to trigger the effect to search. The issue with this is that Contact C is already hit or miss against Dracotail, and is even worse when they know it's in your hand, which they will if the idea is to search it with Retaliating C. So I looked at the other cards Retaliating C could search. Gokipole can be searched by Retaliating C, and if sent to the graveyard, can search for another Retaliating C. This means that if your deck can send the searched Gokipole from hand to grave in the opponent's turn, you can resolve a second Retaliating C in their turn. For example, in the Dracotail mirror match, where I go first with Retaliating C, there were multiple times when my opponent would destroy my Retaliating C with a card like Gulamel, or attacking over it with Lucaris. I could then search Gokipole, then use Thymena to fuse off the Gokipole and search for a second Retaliating C. In the Dracotail mirror in particular, Aphelion can then add back the first Retaliating C from grave to hand. If your deck is better at discarding in your turn than the opponent's, this still makes Gokipole good, since you can link off Retaliating C and then search Gokipole, then discard Gokipole through some means to search another Retaliating C. In my Dracotail deck for Bologna, I did not play Branded Fusion, so I had room for Alsa, which is already good in the mirror to take their Lucaris. And Alsa and other link monsters get even better when you play Retaliating C with Gokipole. Even if your deck does not have a big link engine, simply turning Retaliating into SP and searching Gokipole feels good if you have any way to send the Gokipole from hand to graveyard. Or if you can make that link to without normal summoning, you can even just normal summon Gokipole and link it off, as Gokipole does not care how it hits grave. As long as it gets sent to the graveyard by any means, you can add that level 4 insect from deck to hand. If your deck already plays Almirage, this also lets you get easier Gokipole value. if your deck can make Cherubini, playing Gokipole lets you access Retaliating C through your deck's engine. This makes going first against Dracotail super good if you play these cards. In an ideal world, you would want to play multiple Gokipole because it lets you loop the insect package for longer, but that would be too many side deck slots for a single matchup, so what I recommend is a ratio of 1 to 3. Not every deck needs direct coverage for Dracotail. If your deck plays Canine cards, you already have a good matchup, so you don't need this. But if your deck has a bad matchup against Dracotail, and has a way to get that Gokipole into the graveyard, then this is something to consider. Or for the mirror match, I like it because even though you normally win the mirror match by being better, sometimes a worse player than you can just high roll you, and Gokipole lets your weaker hands beat their stronger hands. My Bologna experience was an unfortunate 6-3, but in both testing and in all of my Dracotail mirror matches, I never lost post-siding. Having this 4-card package in the side deck made me confident that even if I lost game 1, I would still win the match. You can see more of my talks about deck theory on Metafy, where you can join with code BALANCE100 for your first month free. Thank you for watching, have a perfectly balanced rest of your day, and adios.